what's your highlights? Or what things have you found?
Getting to work with my friend.
Oh, shut up, Hattie.
We're rolling.
Dice.
Camera.
Action.
Hello, and welcome to the BBEG Podcast, which of course stands for Big Bad Evil Giraffe. I'm Hattie.
I'm Will.
I'm M.
And today we're just having a chat about
Yeah.
the project that we've started.
As we wrap up the first season,
Yeah.
we have introduced new players and mostly ourselves.
We learned we don't know a lot.
Yeah, we learned that actually
It shows.
Thanks. I'll DM everyone.
Yay!
But just gonna be chatting about how we come up with this and
I
what
bet
the
you're wondering how we
process
got here.
Yeah, that's us.
I bet you're asking why.
Why did we get here?
Nobody asked for that.
Not another deal. Wait, that's a different one.
Ooh, plug.
Stop advertising the enemy.
No, I think I don't know. Wait, let's recap, because at the start of the project we were like, I played for this long. My name is Will. I've been playing since March, I think, this year. So what's that?
March is when we started.
7 months.
Yeah.
And then Hattie, how long have you been playing?
Don't come back to me,
You
because
do
I
the
got
maths.
it wrong last time.
You did do it because you forgot M's campaign, the half campaign you did with M.
Yeah, about a year and a bit.
It would be about a
Yeah,
year now,
it'll be
wouldn't
about a
it?
year now.
Yay!
Yeah. And I am, 3.5 years by this point. It would have
veteran.
been, it would have been March time that we started playing the first ever one in the lockdown. So yeah, that
Wow.
seems right.
I mean, that time's actually gone really good. Well, bear in mind, the campaign that we only do bi-weekly, and then it's as
sorry
and when
about
people are free. That's gone really quickly.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've learnt a lot over this year about D&D, and that's kind of when you guys were like, start a podcast. I was like, I'd like to come and learn more. And this is what I use the podcast for. I was like, I can learn more about my hobby with my friends. So that's why I wanted to join in with this podcast.
Well, the podcast kind of just came about, we were chatting. I kind of went to you, I want to do a nerdy thing.
And I was tell me.
Yeah, because we'd already started bonding. As soon as I got you into the game, we were like, right, cool,
And then-
found another friend to pull me
And then we
down
did
the
our
start call.
campaign.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to turn this into a book. So that's what I'm going to
You got to turn this into a book.
So the
we're-
campaign I've written for you guys,
Yeah.
so obviously I've got the plans now. After the session, I send her the session plan to Hattie, and Hattie has also been detailing the actions and responses of what you guys have been doing.
Oh, that's cool as
so
shit.
we can write it up and turn it into a bit of a story.
Yes.
Is the plan.
So at the end of the campaign, we flip back and go, all the
Look
precious
at what-
memories where Will
Yeah.
almost
Oh no, we're going to
died
have to
3
edit
times.
it so it looks cool.
Well. More explosions, more dragons.
Yeah.
Use more dragons and shit.
Of course.
Hence D&D.
We'll talk.
Yeah. But yeah, so we kind of just started chatting that way about, this would be fun. And then we met for coffee and I was like,
Yes.
I really want to do this. And then literally, was it that day? Because we did D&D that night.
We got coffee and then went for a walk, and the whole way through you were like, I really like these podcasts, and I was like, great. However, my whole producer brain then kicked in, and I was like, we can't do a playing one because we've met our friends.
Not yet, anyway.
We love them dearly.
Yeah.
However, the in-jokes we have won't translate on camera.
No.
And won't, and they're not going to be helpful to watch.
And everyone is too new.
And everyone is too new, and there are quite a lot of people who are now joining who don't want to be on camera and would
Yeah.
have been deterred from it if we were all on camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, but there aren't that many podcasts about useful things within the world. Obviously, Dimension 20's got their own, Critical Role's got their own, and I think Felicia Day has got her own as well, that just covers the general world, but nothing for new players. So I was like, what about this? And you were like, yeah. That's the nerdy shit I like.
And then it was literally, that was daytime, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we would play in D&D back here that night, and we'd already spoken about it. And then you made a comment about it would be so much fun to do a podcast. And literally in that moment, we just looked at each other and went, we have another.
We have found them. And I was like, yeah. And then we had another conversation about it, and it was kind of like, who would bring what to it. What are we missing? What do we need?
Yeah.
And I brought everything.
Yes. And I was just like, I am redundant. And I left. And I was just like, there needs to be, because we're all creatives, and there needs to be a set kind of like, have we got everything? Have we covered everything? Checklist. And there was just an awful lot of like, Will's really interested, and I was like, I know, and he's really good with social media. Let's just drag him along. Bring him in.
Drag him
Edit for us.
Drag him along.
Yeah. I realised that like the one we've never actually like messaged or like spoken outside of D&D, and then one rainy Thursday you get a random message from me being like, hi, Em and I are thinking of like doing a podcast. Do you want to join?
That's right. You're running your work. It's like, I'm working, otherwise I would come along for the walk. That's right.
Yeah.
No, so we each kind of figured M knows them. He's been, like I said, for 3 years.
Stop saying the most, because
the most is not a lie.
The most out of the three of us.
Yeah.
which isn't much.
No, but as a happy average, you have the experience of someone who's been doing it ever so slightly longer than Will, and Will.
I'm also here, yes. But it's like we each kind of brought our own things. So M knows the game the most.
Yes.
Hattie is a
Here.
good... I was going to say, you did a degree in film production.
Yes, I did,
So
yes.
you know how to set up lights and how everything should... And I edit YouTube videos for a hobby on the other channel. So it's like, we all bring something to the table. So it's like, good little trinity.
I brought maps.
Yeah, you did. You also are able to engage with those people in a way that I can't. And there's like reading the email, you send them on our joint account, so I get to read them. And it's quite interesting because the producer part of my brain, which I do outside of work anyway, really kicks in and goes, oh, so that's how you, interesting. That's how you talk to
humans.
We need to have a meeting.
I'm like, we need to talk about something.
Hello, HR.
Yeah. Maybe don't.
I propositioned one of them once, right?
The name will be disclosed later.
We respect their privacy.
However,
We will no longer be doing this podcast because I am being sued.
Defamation.
But that was the whole other side of things, where once we set it up,
I was going to make a very
I
bad joke.
realised.
I was like, no, this is not the time.
But when we set it up, there was a lot of like, can we use this? Have we got music? Have we got the rights to use this and use that? Because I've seen so many people during our degree have projects similar to this be ruined because of little things. And I was like, that will not be us. We will learn from the mistakes of others.
We will thrive.
So there's been an awful lot of like, maybe can we just skirt around the law? That'd be great. We haven't.
I didn't agree to this. I didn't know she was doing this.
No, we've got everything in place.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when we were coming up with names for the podcast, we were like, let's get inspiration, and we just kind of used AI, can you generate this? And then kind of made different deviations of
Yes.
But then, speaking of the law and stuff, we're like BBEG, and if we have like a guest on, it could be the Big Bad Evil guest episode. What if we change the G for a different item on the table each time?
And then we found a giraffe.
No. More important than that, we found another BBEG podcast.
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to email them going, hello, we've seen you've been inactive for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
We would like this name if you're not using it.
Yeah.
And we waited 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There was no response.
No.
So it's kind of like, okay, we assume it's not running anymore. But if anyone asks, yes, we are the Big Bad Evil Giraffe podcast.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we went with.
That's what it says in the contracts I wrote up.
That's why I didn't sign it.
So it was just one afternoon we sat going, what names could we do?
I was so set on Bardic Inspiration.
But
It's
taken.
Yeah.
All the bloody good
And
ones
for
were
a good
taken.
reason. It's a really good name.
Do or Dice was taken.
Yeah.
We're just naming other podcasts
Critical
now.
Role was taken. Rude.
That was our go-to. D20.
Yeah.
The one I liked was Crit or Miss.
That was,
Yeah.
But again,
That was
taken.
really good.
Yeah.
But that's for that. And then there was one day, I'm not sure where you were on a job when me and Hattie went round charity shops.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was on a ship.
You were on a ship, that's
Yeah.
right. There was one afternoon, me and Hattie just went round charity shops and found second-hand stuff to do this studio. So, like, would you actually never pay me back for the table?
No, I didn't.
I own a table now.
You need to tell us.
No, you know what? If I leave London, I'm taking the table with me.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
But it was it's like what equipment we have.
Yeah.
So Em's flatmate, she is actually a YouTuber. She's like picked off over the last few months. Helicopter.
Yeah.
She's really like hit it off over the last few months.
Yes.
So we have like a massive box like here
Yeah.
between us. I said, well, I've got 3 mics. Em had 2 mics. So I've got ring
I brought
lights.
no equipment to this. I brought my winning personality.
-1 charisma.
No, that's the intelligence.
No, one time. It happened one time.
It just kind of kicked off from there. What's any highlights? Any things we found hard? Any
Working with you two.
Yeah.
Was that? Which one was that?
That wasn't a highlight.
I'll let you guys decide that for yourself.
I like to live in my dream world.
This is my fantasy.
But I genuinely think one of my highlights was, do you remember what the set looked like before we got all the knickknacks in?
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it and went, that looks shit.
Yeah.
We filled it with knickknacks and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my, I can see it now. I can see our set. I was like, yeah, this is going to be so good. I think that was one of my favourite bits.
For context, especially if you guys watch us on YouTube and not just listen to us on Spotify, this little studio setup is a spare room in my flat that I share with my friend Kelly and Kevin. And we just kind of converted it into, there is a double bed on the other side, just pointing over there for our guests.
Legally, this cannot be a bedroom in a rented property because there's no windows.
No.
Hence why it's so fucking warm in here.
Warm.
It's just a
with a box
bed
light
with
right
so much stuff
here.
on it, But so we turned it into our little podcast station. We'd always use it as a spare room for creative stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it just made sense.
Yeah.
So, what's your highlights? Or what things have you found?
Getting to work with my friends.
Oh, shut up, Patty.
That's the same level as like, no, Mum, I'm playing with my
That
friends.
was my favourite on earth.
That was my highlight.
I'm being cool, I'm playing with my friends.
Watching me make a tit out of myself on camera.
Nothing new.
People pay good money.
Link in the description.
How do we think we fund this?
All profits get put back into the podcast.
It is a profit scheme.
Speaking of profits, we have a number of people to thank on taking a chance on us and actually sending us maps for free. We do donate as and when we can to their Patreon. We'll give a bit of money there.
We've paid every single one.
Yeah.
So
but allowing us to, because we're brand new, having a lot of faith in something like this, could not thank them enough.
Yeah.
But we are definitely gonna try.
Today's map is brought to you by, well, everyone. Now, here at the BBEG Podcast, we've had a wonderful time recording our first ever series and putting it out there into the world for you all to see.
But not only that, we had the pleasure of collaborating with some insanely talented artists and featuring their phenomenal maps.
So we can't thank you guys enough, and I hope you know just how appreciative we are of you for sending us your maps to this tiny little podcast that started in the summer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Epic Quest, from our first ever episode. Epic Quest is an incredible, detailed creator of static and animated maps, and you can find him on Patreon, YouTube, and Instagram.
Thank you, Dread Maps, who featured on our second episode. Dread has a wide variety and is a master of colour, and you can find them on Ko-Fi, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok.
Thank you to Beg, Borrow, and Steal Productions, who featured in our third map. BBSP are 4 phenomenal artists who focus on lighting, on colour, and most importantly, historical realism. Check them out on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon.
Thank you, Strigon, from our 4th episode. I corrected the pronunciation. Now, Strigon is an incredibly talented artist that does all his maps by hand, and you can find him on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you, Darkest Maps, who featured on our 5th episode. They're 2 artists that not only create these astounding maps, but they also create them with time, settings, meaning there is always a perfect time of day for your world. You can find them on Patreon and Instagram.
Thank you to Mapzilla, who featured in our 6th episode. Now, as well as making maps that are colourful and pop from the page, Mapzilla makes modular dungeon pieces, so you can build your own dungeons. That could include a freaking zip wire. You can find Mapzilla on Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon.
Thank you, Hinworks, the skunk cartographer, who is featured in our 7th episode, a classic fantasy artist who specialises in city maps that are incredibly detailed, and you can find her on Instagram and Ko-Fi.
All of you have made our podcast so incredibly special, not only by decorating our wall with your beautiful maps, but by also being incredible people who are willing to take a chance on such a new project. Thank you. And for all of you watching, please go and check them out.
No followers, nothing, literally from the ground up. And I literally came up with the idea of just reaching out to one that I already subscribed to on Patreon, because I use their maps for our games. And then I was like, oh, this would be cool. Spoke to them about it and they were in. And once that went, I was like, ball is rolling. And yeah.
Yes, because the aim of this podcast was never to make money, it's to discuss the hobby that we love.
Yes.
So it's like that we cannot offer these people anything more than exposure.
Yeah.
And they said yes.
All of the maps I can see over your shoulder.
Yeah.
So in every episode I have to make sure that
So-
I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'm like, oh.
I mean, yeah, the better
that
looking than
really-
me. I get it.
Well, this wasn't supposed to be a thing either. If we were supposed to like,
Yeah,
that's
we
what I
put a
mean.
green screen behind, and we're like, actually, how nice would it be just a frame?
Yeah.
No, what was it supposed to be?
So you were going to
mentioned
put the green screen up,
That there.
but then it was going to be here,
Here.
and then there wasn't enough like
space.
Yeah.
space.
So
and
then I referenced it was in Friends and Only Fools and Horses. Only Fools and Horses. Oh, something was going
I was going to say, weren't we going to put it here?
We
and
tried.
Then,
Yeah, we
and then
tried it
realised
there.
that the reflection
Yeah,
and everything,
that's
it
right.
was just so...
Yeah.
So I referenced in Friends at the Central Perk, they changed the stock in the front of the counter every
Yes,
episode.
yes, they
Then there was
do.
one in I think it's Only Fools and Horses where they changed the
Yeah.
kitchen furniture
Yeah.
like every few episodes. I said, how cool would it be if we can change the map so it's not we would think of just putting our logo
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
And that's how the getting different maps came up.
Yeah.
It's like, how cool would it be if we can get map creators on
Yeah.
board and we can feature it every week.
Yeah.
Guys, we seriously cannot thank you enough
Yes.
for just allowing us the time to chat and just giving us one of your maps.
Yeah.
Like, we just hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you so
enjoyed
much.
working with us as much as we have you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shut up now.
One of the things that wasn't supposed to be a thing, don't look
Was
panicked.
Hattie.
Yeah. Hence the look of fear. The Will just saw me go, sorry?
No, because this was supposed to be a bi-weekly podcast where we
Yeah.
discuss different topics, and
Yeah.
then I said, what if we did it on YouTube? Because I do YouTube as
Yeah.
a hobby.
Yeah.
I'm like, it would be nice if we just do like an hour-long podcast.
Yeah.
Then we do
Yeah.
a 15-minute recap, just
Yeah.
cut down for those who don't have an hour to watch or listen to it. And then we started that. And honestly, that was the bit that stressed me out a little bit because it was my own fault.
Let's do this. We've got 2 days.
Yeah. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
how
no,
good
that
would that
wasn't-
be? And then the first day, we're like, well, we've got 2 days to put it together. It's going to be alternating Thursdays.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, right, let's do a short that day and then
Yeah.
that. But again, the shorts, they weren't supposed to be a thing either, were they?
No,
Well,
this
we
was...
had an idea of like maybe putting some out, but it wasn't the focus.
No,
it was
it
just
was-
to help keep
Retention.
milling us over
Yeah.
and, you know.
We were just
Yeah.
like, let's podcast, let's do it. And
Yeah.
then, like, the ball started rolling, and before we knew where we were,
Yeah.
like, we have done this podcast for a long, long time now. Like, all of our lives have changed and are going to continue to change. So it was one of those where... What the hell was that?
I leave in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've got a wedding to plan.
Yeah, you do! I was going to say, one of us is chasing careers, one of us is getting engaged, and I am fine.
This project's just grown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it completely, like,
Yeah.
in and around the things we have to work around in our lives. Like the reason why it had to be bi-weekly is I do shifts, so my week isn't 7, it's 14 days long. So it was one of it was just let's do it bi-week, and then it's chilled, and then we just added things to that, and I'm like, okay, so I finish at 7 o'clock at night, run home, film a little bit, send it to you while I'm asleep, wake up and continue to write like ideas for the next one, or do that. It just has been a never ending.
And then we're adding it in when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on a ship for 5 weeks, so have fun trying to contact me. If you can record all this in your cabin and then send it to me so we can put it
when
in.
there's good Wi-Fi. I can't thank you for writing everything, because I'm not good at writing so much. So
I mean, I can't edit, so in that sense, it's the least I can do.
We were able to. There was a lot of like, I was like, oh, teach me. I wish to learn. Because when we started, I was like, Em, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I did editing, and I've done editing for 3 years. Naja and I used to sit down and have conversations about editing. I know what I'm doing, I just don't enjoy it. It's not really my thing. And then when we started, he was like, would you be able to? And I was like, I'm going to be honest, no.
If you don't keep up the skills,
But then it was like fiddling around with all of our little short ideas that we had and seeing if they worked. And I was like, oh, actually, this is really cool. Like, I'm going to have to ask Will to teach me your ways.
Which I will learn you. Well, I don't think this is not something I've said out. This first time saying it. It's like, if you guys want to the podcast is the easy bit. Sync up audio. I will do like the ad reads, because that's a lot of things flying in and out. And then I'll do the shorts as well, because that's very quick cut. Thing. But then the recaps are essentially just
the same as
the podcast. Link it up, cut out the crap. Done. So I think if that's, I can teach you to do that. It's really
Kelly's
easy.
going to be showing me some stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes, when you get your stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you? You've got your new Mac, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've downloaded my free trial of
Final Cut?
Final Cut?
Yeah. 30 days. I've not activated it yet. I was like, when she starts to teach me, then I'll activate it.
Yeah. See? Life being moving.
Quite literally, I'm going to be in a coach for 6 months.
Oh yeah. Which is what. So we're going to go remote for a little bit, recording remotely, because Em has booked a fantastic job on a European tour as a singerist.
As a bard.
So we're going to go remote for a bit, so we've got to work out the logistics of that. But I think
that's a little bit of a hiatus, a little bit of a break.
So we'll
figure out what on earth we're going to do.
In January, I'll be working out the logistics of that, creating more content to go out weekly. Like I've got skit ideas. We have a number of shorts to go out. So shorts and skits will be going up in January, while we think of more long form content that we can do remotely, while Em is being very impressive.
Yes.
Thanks.
Pressure.
My parents are already booked to come out for the first week I go live. I'm like, great.
Nice. No, please come in the second week while I'm used to it.
I was just like, well, they wanted to come for New Year's. Like, I will not have a chance to see you. It's very busy out in Germany at that point where we are in time. I'm like, wonderful. And then like, oh, okay, well, you got 10 days in Berlin. I was like, yes. So they booked the first week. Do you want to book the second week? And like it was a bit more
when we know
short,
more sure-footed.
But you
know. So that's what we're going to do after this episode. Go and sit and plan remote episodes that we could do. I've got a few ideas in mind. We have a Google Drive full of ideas that we can flesh out a little bit. Yeah, and that's actually something I didn't even think about. There was one couple of weeks ago. We had a call about where we see this going come the new year, with Em going away, and what we were planning for the next bulk recording session.
Yes.
And Hattie introduced me to Google Calendars. I've never used it before. I think that is fantastic. I love literally scheduling all the because there was one week where I messed up. I mislabeled the footage and I got them the wrong way round.
Yep.
And I had to Google Calendar was like, that's the episode going up today. Yep. Okay, let's rename it and upload it and I fucking love Google Calendar.
I know, it's great.
Turns my head in.
True, but
it's not one for me.
Like, out of all the calendars I've used for shoots, it is the easiest to navigate.
Oh, it's handy.
And the fact that everyone can, I've had like full-on call sheets on it with crews where I was like, this is the time you will wake up.
Yeah.
I cannot stress this enough.
You'll wake up at 5 and be on set for 7.
Yeah, if I text you at 7 and I don't get a response, I don't, like, the sky will fall down.
All right,
Answer.
Chicken Little.
Yeah.
Sky is falling.
And I was like, and it's all colourful as well, so we can add little colours and make it like colour coded and have it so everyone can see and everyone can
That's just
edit.
weird.
And okay, I will label it better.
Colour coded.
Hey, if 2/3 of the room can see it, we're great.
Yeah, that's a win in my book.
That's a passing grade.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And dyslexia is registered as success. Like, did we kind of meet halfway and a little bit? Yes, we win.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So yeah. So there's been an awful lot of trial and error, I
Yeah.
feel. But I feel
Yeah.
like nobody has noticed when we have when we fucked up. Which is the main thing.
Yeah.
I think as well that we've done really, really well with the bulk recording, because remember the first time we sat down, we had so many tech issues.
Oh,
my
we were brave
god!
that day.
We were very brave.
Yeah, we can record 4 in a day.
No, we got 2 done.
Didn't we get
We got
2 and then 3 and
The
then
next
yes,
day.
hence
And then
we're
we've kind of
on
kept it to 3 ever since.
Yeah.
Perfect
Yeah.
medium.
But it was straight up the tech issues. We all started panicking a little bit, and then someone, I think on like this second episode, I had to put a disclaimer. So I going, for
Yeah.
some reason the audio doubled up, and we can't figure out why.
Yeah.
But at that point, Kelly had lent us her very nice
Yes.
camera.
Hello.
And her very nice camera
Yeah.
has pretty good audio in itself. So
Yes.
like, okay, right,
Well
for the next
covered.
2 episodes, we're just going to use the camera audio,
Yeah.
and I will edit the audio to make it seem a little bit more contained.
Yeah.
But then we come up with a solution for 2
Yeah.
different mics on 2 different lines, and I think, hopefully, it works a treat.
Yeah.
I hope that picked up on microphone, otherwise I've done that for nothing.
Oh no. Okay, no.
Don't tap my microphone.
No, I was just like,
I broke a microphone.
yeah. It
wasn't the mic, it was the stand.
It was the stand.
We
It's
have
not the stand.
changed microphones, seats, maps.
Clothes.
We've like I would hope.
Set.
No, sometimes set. Like you will have noticed a cacophony of changes that have arrived.
This is not the original Hattie that you saw in the first episode.
Dun, 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 dun.
Polymorph.
I was gonna say this is all CGI. This is like you've split the room and it's just
AI
you two
stealing
having-
everyone's
yeah.
jobs these
It's
days.
just you two having a conversation
AI.
and I'm here like
Yes, that's very good. Beep porp.
welcome to our podcast. The BBEG Podcast.
I do love the giraffe. I have no idea why I love the giraffe, but it was supposed to be random
We
items.
found it and just ran with it
I was going to say that this was the first episode and you said it and we were like, there we go.
as a joke. and
Because
like,
we had a
that's it.
list. We had a list of G's. We
Yeah,
could
we're going to
pick.
put glasses on there. We're going to put...
Gerald the giraffe.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have a name for it. Gerald, Jerry.
Yeah.
I like Jerry the giraffe.
Yeah.
Jerry. Jerry begins with a J.
It can begin with a G.
Geary.
Gary.
Geary the giraffe.
Isn't that just Gary spelt wrong?
Yeah. Hang on. We do D&D where people create whatever names. Tyler was Stev, spelt Steve.
Steve.
I think we're past the Jerry is spelled with a G.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
No, I
How
like
many names
that.
these days can be spelled with random things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of like names and characters,
Okay.
how were you introduced to D&D? Because I know how I was. We were sat in the middle of the D&D film. We went to
Yeah.
go and watch the D&D film.
Yeah, yeah.
You leant over and were like, "I play this," when I was like, "This is so cool! Oh my god!"
I thought you already know. I thought we'd already mentioned it.
No.
Ah.
So we hadn't had that conversation. We were talking about something
Yeah.
else, and I was like, "Oh, I think this is really cool. Like I've seen it in like Stranger Things. I've watched the thing," and you literally just went, "I play this."
It wasn't even the film, was it? It was the trailer for the
Yes,
film.
it was the trailer for the
What
film.
did we go to see?
It
mean,
was
it
a
didn't-
Marvel, so something.
Oh, yeah. No, that makes sense. Oh, it was Wakanda Forever.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And and
Black
the trailer
Panther
came
2.
on, and I just saw Hattie's excitement. She's like, "This is so cool." I was like, "You know I play it, right? You've been over to the house. I have a shelf filled with the books." And so she went, "No." I was like, "I'm DMing a campaign, you fool. Get it."
You fool. You fool of a took.
But yeah, and we eased you in with 2 one-shots,
Yes.
leveling you up to
Yeah.
catch you up to level 6.
Yeah. With 2 complete strangers.
Yep.
Oh,
Literally
Yeah.
sat in M's bedroom one Monday it must have been.
Yeah, it would have been a Monday for those games. Yeah.
And then seeing these guys on the screen, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's like a new kid at school. Please be nice to me.
I need someone to sit with at lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at every point I was like, Em, what do I do?
Yeah.
Help me. How do I? How?
How do?
How do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is literally how you got into it.
I
Yeah.
just realised something tonight. So we're hosting, Em is hosting a one shot, and there's going to be 2 new players.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to
Joining the
teach
cult.
them.
So
They would have to go.
Yeah, you bitches better
Me,
be on it.
Kelly, Hattie.
yeah, so that
Naz.
we've done several points in the podcast where it's like, how do you sit people? And it will be experience, non-experience, experience, non-experience, experience. And there will be an awful... I do it with Emily. That's why I sit next to her. Every single time.
So I just have to sit you in the middle of everyone.
Please.
Experience, and everyone else has no experience.
I guess I go fuck myself.
And Will goes home.
Yeah, it's you 2 on the sides,
Yeah.
Naz and Kelly, and
Yeah.
if Jordan arrives, middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do that with Emily, where
Yeah.
there's a lot of like, and I do the same with you, but like across the room because I
Yeah.
have no shame. Where I'm like, I don't know how this works. But there will be, there's a lot of like, we're gonna have to help them.
Me, I'm going to have questions tonight because I'm playing an elf fighter, neither of which I've ever played. So I'm going to have questions about what
Yeah.
the fuck I built.
Yeah.
I did read through and I'm like, I think this
That
makes
does.
sense.
That works. Yeah.
But-
What about you? Your introduction into the game.
So our friend Sam got me into a podcast, Dungeons and Daddies, with Freddie Wong from YouTube fame. He was massive 10 years ago. He started a podcast, started listening to it. It was hilarious. Had me hooked on the 2nd episode because of a stupid joke. From that, I started listening to Oxventure from Outside Xbox, Not Another D&D podcast. I'm now started listening to Tales from the Stinky Dragon. But before doing that, after those 3, I was like, I would love to play D&D, and I don't know anyone who plays it. Because this is before I knew you, Em.
Yeah.
And there was one New Year's Eve. It was this New Year's Eve. There was a house party here, and I sat...
Wasn't this one?
I was
It was the
gonna
one
say
before.
2 years
It was
ago.
the first time.
It
It
was
was in the
2
first year I lived here, so that's
Yeah.
2 years
Yeah,
ago.
it was.
Yeah.
That's
Because I'd met you once when you were very drunk.
all
That's
the
how
time.
that's how all I speak. That's not new.
The whole Turtle Bay incident. And then New Year's Eve was after that. So you arrived to the flat sober and was like, oh, we've not met. And I was like, no, I met you Turtle Bay night. And you're like,
I'm sorry, that's right. But I saw
rude.
Em's D&D shelf full of all the books. I was like, whose are they? And Em was like, they're mine. I was like, can I read them? So I sat and read a D&D book at a New Year's Eve party. I was like, I need to play this.
Your girlfriend was thrilled.
Nothing says cool.
I was like, not. I have a Pokemon phone case.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you've chosen your person where I don't think that would surprise her
Genuinely,
at all.
So there was a on the Jackmate podcast. They said all 3 of them very happy in relationships. I'm like,
Yeah.
do you think you could chat up a girl in a bar now? And they all went, no, no. It's like, how would you do it? And I thought my thing would be, I would like start a conversation, and 5 minutes in, get my phone out and just put it on the bar and see how they reacted to it. And if they go, ugh, I'll go, well,
Bye.
I'm a big nerd. Bye. Obviously, you don't like nerds. And that's how I would gauge it. So luckily, I found one who puts up with my nerd shit.
Fair.
But no, that's how I knew I wanted to play D&D, reading the book, and then I think it was like mid-February, you kind of reached out and went, oh, who wants to play D&D? And I was like, oh my god, yes! I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, cool.
Well, yeah, the first year I'd reached out because a few of you had been like, oh, this would be cool to try. And then it just never happened for a year.
Yeah.
And then it was this February because someone brought it back up again.
Yeah.
I got you to start
Yeah,
playing.
and then I
That's right.
told Naja, Naja told
Yeah.
Sam, and when everyone was visiting, is it Callum? Everyone was visiting? There was conversations about it all kicking up again.
Yeah.
Around like, well, we like hanging out, but we don't want to do like the castle pub anymore.
Yeah.
And we want to make it more fun.
Yeah.
So how about this? And there was me being like, guys, you'll never guess what cool thing I found. Because everyone was like, we know. This is not new.
Em's been
Calm
asking
down.
for a year.
Yeah, and I was like, guys, look at the shiny rocks and the books.
And then what? So from that's February. So February, March, April, June. We come up with this idea.
Oh,
Then we kind of put it into,
Yeah.
or this could be a thing in July.
Yeah.
And then we had to delay it for weeks. I forget why. Because we started it late August.
Yeah, we did. I have a feeling it was something
just
to
planning
do with
and getting stuff together.
We didn't know what we knew what we were talking about. Like,
Yeah.
the problem wasn't the creative ideas that we had. The problem was like how to like properly order those things into episodes so there isn't just like 3 people sat in a room.
Yeah.
But it actually had flow, which was the biggest problem because we were like, oh my god, what if we talk about this? And we're like, yeah, but now we've got a podcast that's like 3 hours long. Like no one's going to listen to that.
No.
So yeah, this came about. This little podcast came about 3 months worth of thinking and planning, and I'm really happy with how it's going.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does this episode take us up to? Because we are bulk recording.
Just before Christmas.
Yeah, 21st week of the 21st.
Because then we're going to drop the one shot.
Well.
So there might be a cheeky Christmas one shot for you all.
Yeah.
With our friends. We have our first big bad evil guests episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll just have to tune in.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of wraps up most of what we're about.
Yeah,
what
how
we're doing.
we got here.
We got here.
And I'm very much looking forward to going into the new year.
Yeah, especially because now we've covered like
Yeah.
there's an awful lot of like, oh my god guys, so many ideas, and we all like write them down, or like you're very creative, so there's a lot of like, I recorded this on the fly and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? That's so cool. And we're like, hold on a minute, let's get the first season out of the way and then we can go completely mental.
Yeah. Now we can start doing the games and stuff. Now we talk and play D&D, let's do games and and other topics.
Because we said like
we do more not less structured, but more out there ideas.
Yeah.
Now we've done the basics.
And we said like it didn't. Well, I remember saying I didn't want it to just be a D&D podcast. I don't know about loads of other tabletop games, but I think that's the point. There's so much out there to explore and enjoy, and if that's reviewing them, buying them to have a look at, and even like playing them to see, because we said we didn't want to be a playing podcast, that doesn't mean we're not going to do it from time to time. Because it just shows a different side, more fun. Maybe it'll show how stupid we all actually are.
It's definitely me.
We're dumb. The 3 of us are dumb.
Yes.
Our 3 collective brain cells can do this, guys.
I don't think we have 3 collective brain cells between us when we're playing.
Oh god, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even roll correctly, so no. I can't.
Fair. But like, there's so much out there in the terms of tabletop gaming, which makes it exciting.
Yes.
And just allows us to keep pushing on in different directions. Will we come back to D&D? Yeah. Is it what I fell in love with to get into the tabletop world? Absolutely. So
yeah, I also don't feel like we're just done with it.
No.
Right, like we are fantasy nerds.
No.
So
these on the subject of fantasy nerds, these guys know, but I'm watching Lord of the Rings for the first time on Sunday.
about damn time.
Like when I told these guys, it was your
Note the
other
face.
night. You saw do the other night. I was like, I watched Lord of the Rings for the first time, and Em turns around and goes, "What? You've never watched?" Like, no, it's just
like one of my favourites, and I'm not saying the films are like immaculate. I get it. The books are so much better, as the books tend to be in any film situation. But just like as a kid, starting to watch it for the first time and being like, wizard is literally where I went, this is what I want in life.
Speaking of someone who has only just watched them as an adult, you're going to have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'll do a little review.
Yeah.
1 minute short review.
A little live on our thing, being like, guys, guess what I've just done?
Yeah. So I think we have a lot to look forward to in the new year.
Yeah.
I get to do it from a remote location, so I'll definitely enjoy it. I love you both.
That's a good one. Okay, this is not something for you, but for us, we need to think of a whole new timetable then. It's going to be as and when you are free.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll have to consider some things, but I'm only performing in the evenings, so...
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sure.
We can make that work.
We'll make it up as we go.
I mean,
as
we've got this far.
Yeah, as with everything we've done, we'll make it up as we go.
Yeah.
But onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
And that. Right?
Yeah.
And thank you so much for watching us so far.
Yes, and thank you to the people who sent us maps. I know we preached about it earlier, but thank you for taking a chance on us, because we're really enjoying doing this, and we're going to press on forward.
Yeah. And for one last time, just to drop their names to go check them out.
Yes.
It's Epic Quest, Dread Maps, Beg, Borrow and Steal Productions, Strigan Art, Darkest Maps, Mapzilla, and Hinworks, the Skunk Cartographer.
Amazing.
And with that, Play the outro.
I don't know what the outro.
How long have we been doing this podcast for? Before we sign off, Hattie, where can people find us going forward into the new year?
Oh, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Spotify at the BBEG Podcast.
And if you want to email in, it is the bbegpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know anything you want to see in the new year. Take us out.
With what? I mean, I'll take you guys out later in the one shot.
Yeah.
But that's very different.
I feel like because this is close to Christmas, we can be like, happy holidays.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.